I feel like very first time I played, I definitely blacked out when I played on
Okay,
tour.
great, because I felt like I blacked out too.
I think that's a totally normal emotion to have. But no, I mean, everyone's so different. I always try to focus on like a nice song that I could play in my head, or I'd talk to my caddy and just try to get through the first few holes and just survive.
Cheyenne, welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. We're so excited to have you, and I really appreciate you being here in the studio. So thank you. You're here with family, right?
Well, I was supposed to be.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
There was, with kids, things happen, and our trip got canceled. So I'm solo dolo.
Oh my God, I so appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, we're gonna get started in a fun way. We like to have a little foreplay in the beginning.
Okay.
So we have a fun rapid fire questions of this or that.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I sure hope so.
Okay. All right. Golf or baseball?
Golf for sure.
Okay. North Carolina or Arizona?
Oh, Arizona.
Okay. Love it. Which, by the way, North Carolina is where she went to school.
Yes. Very special place in my heart.
Yes. Okay. Okay. RACV Royal Pines Resort in Australia or Seven Canyons in Arizona?
Oh, Royal Pines.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
that's where she won. That is where she won. We love it. Okay. What's harder? 10 years playing professionally or being a mom of two under two?
A mom of two under two. Let me tell
challenge?
You. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Golf is, been there, done that. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Play Augusta National in pouring rain or St. Andrews in 40-mile-per-hour winds?
Oh, I think the proper way to play St. Andrews is in the wind.
That's true.
I would totally do that over playing Augusta in the rain.
Would you rather your kids grow up to be a professional golfer or MLB star? Or softball?
Or softball. Yeah, that's true with our little baby girl.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's really hard. I would say baseball.
Really?
I like the fact that when I go watch, I don't have to walk.
That is a good point.
And I can be indoors at times and sit down. And baseball, they don't play in the rain a lot of times. That is true. So I'm going to go with baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah.
Okay, baseball it is. All right, last rapid fire question. Caddy for Tiger at the Masters or have him caddy for you at an LPGA event?
The Masters.
Yeah, I know, hands down.
Although I'd be so nervous to caddy and not want to screw up. But that is just something you can't miss. Yeah, you can't miss that type of moment.
Yeah, that would be like the biggest crowd probably humanly possible to have you on the bag for him at the Masters. That would be so sick. All right, so let's actually get started and get into like your career and how you began golf. You actually started golf at a very young age, like 3 years old, right?
Yeah, honestly, I don't even remember how old I was, but golf was always around.
Right.
Neither of my parents played golf. I have two older brothers. They never played, but my grandpa, Earl Woods, is the one who got me into it. And at the time I got started, Tiger was maybe just turning pro. It was early 90s. Wow. I don't remember, but I was told.
Got it.
Yeah, I was watching him. I was in a stroller when he played as an amateur out here.
Oh, Riviera.
At Riviera. Yes, when he played as an amateur. So I was there as a baby. So it was just always around in my life. And I started playing in my grandpa's garage with an old cut-down club of Tigers. And I grew up in Arizona. My grandpa and Tiger lived in California. We'd always come out to visit summer vacations. And it just was something, I think I was growing up at the right age, as a lot of us were now in our 30s, where Tiger was everywhere on TV. He changed the game. And as a 5, 6, 7-year-old watching him, it was just the coolest thing ever. And I just wanted to be like him.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got into golf. It just spurred this excitement about golf in me that that's how I saw my life being of playing on tour.
That's so wild. So what age were you when you were like, yeah, I want to do this. Like, I want to be a pro?
Ever since I can remember.
Really?
Yeah, honestly.
Wow.
And I think it's just seeing it and having that connection to Tiger. I was like, it just was the coolest thing. And I think also growing up a girl in the sport.
Yes.
And I had 2 older brothers. I always had the mindset of what they can do, I can do, and trying to keep up with them. And I loved surprising people as a young girl and saying, I play golf and I'm good at it. So I just always saw golf in my life in that way, that was the career I wanted. That was the path I wanted to take. Luckily, my grandfather also just instilled a lot of belief in myself
I love
from
that.
a young age. I mean, I was probably 9 or 10 years old. I remember sitting in his kitchen and he's making me breakfast, and he told me like that he could see me being on tour, that he believed in me. And
I love that.
one of my favorite stories about my grandpa is he used to work for IMG, and he was a scout to scout like junior golfers and potential up and coming players.
I love that.
And when I was sitting in his kitchen on that day, he told me that when I was like 4 or 5 years old, he wrote an official report about me.
Aww.
And he submitted it officially into IMG. And I was like, wow, what did you write? And he goes, I'm not going to tell you what I wrote, but one day when you turn pro, IMG will come and recruit you, and they'll bring the letter and you can read it then. So when I graduated from Wake Forest, my grandfather had passed while I was in high school. So this was a couple years after. And I graduated. I wanted to turn pro. IMG came and they brought the letter. And I got to read it for the first time.
I literally have goosebumps.
And it was literally 1993, I think. So I was 3 or 4 years old.
Wow.
And he wrote what he saw in me. He wrote that he could see me play on tour, the skills that he could see in me. And those are the types of things that I tell people make a difference. When you have someone in your corner that believes in you, and then you start to believe it too.
Yeah.
That is what always propelled me in my career and my life with golf. Like, if my grandpa could see it when I was 3 or 4 years old, like, I want to do it for him. I want to do it because I believe it too. And so that was a huge part of my golf life, of just having him as like that foundation and that rock of like believing in me and what I can do in the game of golf.
So what was your reaction in opening that letter? Like, did you even remember it in that moment that he had given you that?
Yeah, it was always in the back of my mind. I always remembered that letter. I always thought, what did he write? What did he think? So when they did bring it, it was like a full circle moment. It felt unreal, honestly, to see.
I can literally tear up right now thinking about it. I can't even imagine.
And it's in his handwriting. You know, it's like this beautiful cursive. And just to read his words, especially after he had passed. And he was the one who got me started. He was the one who taught me what I knew about golf. So he was the biggest figure in my life when it came to golf and what I wanted to do in the sport. So when I was able to sit there and see it, it was just like, this is what I've been waiting for. And it just meant so much. So I have it framed in our house. And it's just one of those really special moments that I will never forget.
I love that story. Have you shared that story much?
No, I haven't.
Really?
No, I think I've only shared it maybe once or twice, and it was early on in my career.
Yeah.
It's one of the most special moments I've had.
That's so beautiful. You're gonna have to send me a picture of it framed at your house.
Yes.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about Wake Forest. You just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What does that honor mean to you?
It means a lot, and it feels surreal because Wake Forest has such a deep, deep history in every sport. I mean, it's a small school, but they have such depth in the athletes that they've produced, whether it be basketball, golf, soccer. So now to be among the names of the Hall of Fame inductees is just an honor. Growing up on the West Coast, I didn't know a lot about Wake Forest other than like Tim Duncan and Chris Paul, and of course, Mr. Palmer. But to now be etched in history is really special. And during my speech at the induction, I spoke about how I wasn't always the best golfer, and I really had to work my way up. And so to be able to work my way through Wake, prove my game, work my way through the team and up in the rankings really meant a lot to me to be able to accomplish that.
What made you commit to that school?
Honestly, growing up in Arizona, I just was sick and tired of being there. It is hot, it is boring.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to just try somewhere new. And North Carolina was very new. It was a culture shock. But I always tell people it was the best thing that ever happened to me, especially golf-wise. I was forced to learn how to live on my own, away from my family, play in weather that is not just perfect at all times. True. And play different golf courses too, which was such a test. So I always say it was the best thing for my career and just for me kind of like growing up and learning, again, on that path of trying to become professional.
Right. So talking about your career as a whole, I'm sure you've actually received this question many times. So clearly, you have a really big name in your family. Woods is the last name. And a lot of attention was on you throughout your career, college golf, professional golf. What was that like for you building a name for yourself?
It was difficult. Growing up, I loved watching Tiger play. And he was the biggest inspiration for me to become a professional golfer or even to play golf in general. So I somewhat am a fan and I love watching him play. But then coming up and being a Woods and having the extra attention or the expectations, whatever that might be, was difficult. I mean, even to this day, I am still referred to as his niece, which is totally fine because I get it. But when you are young and trying to not only prove yourself to the world, but prove yourself to yourself, it can be difficult when you're constantly reminded of the other person rather than yourself and what you've accomplished. So I really had to learn how to have that self-love, that self-worth of I worked to get here. I deserve to be here despite what my name is. And I think it made me a stronger person and a stronger player of just believing in who I am. But it definitely was difficult. And I had to just embrace it because it's not something that was ever going to leave.
Right. I was thinking about actually on the drive here, and I just feel very empathetic to what that feeling and pressure could be like to have someone in your life that's essentially setting the bar, right? And the pressures that you could face. And I feel like you've done it with so much grace. And I think from the outside looking in, I don't think you could really tell that it may have been difficult or that, it was a lot of pressure. So I think you did a phenomenal job, like making a name for yourself,
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, I try to do what I could. I mean, I love golf for my own reasons, and I never wanted to be the next Tiger Woods.
Sure.
I just grew up wanting to see how far I can take it.
Absolutely.
And I love that challenge. And, to at least have the representation of Woods on the women's side means a lot to me. And to be a woman of color in golf and kind of have that representation again is just really powerful. So I try to do what I could to give back to the game. And, the Woods name definitely helps elevate whatever I do, which I think is definitely a privilege.
Absolutely. Has Tiger given you any advice throughout your career? And if so, you mind sharing?
I would say the biggest thing is he always has just said to have fun. And I think the biggest advice I've ever had from him is just me watching what he does. And whether it be on TV or the few times I've been able to kind of watch him practice in person, I've always said he's the hardest working person I've ever seen in my life. In every aspect. And he's so intelligent. He's so hardworking. He's just so intense that is definitely what I've learned most from him is just by observing, seeing where he came from and how far he's taken it, what he's gone through. It's just really, really inspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went on to play professionally, like basically a decade, right? Playing pro.
Yeah.
LET, which is Ladies European Tour. Yeah. LPGA. What is your favorite memory of playing on tour?
My favorite memories are definitely playing on European Tour.
Really? Okay. Why is that?
It just was such a new experience for me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything I had expected myself to do. And I think that's what makes it really special too. I graduated from Wake. And, in our minds, we always think, okay, I'm going to go boom, boom, boom. This is how I get on tour.
Sure.
So I went to Q school, didn't make it through. I didn't even get Epson Tour status. I didn't make the cut at first stage.
Yeah.
And so I was confused. Like, where do I go from here? And so my agent suggested, European Tour as an option. And the thought of going to Morocco and
for the qualifier.
Yeah, and
Crazy.
Potentially playing in Europe. And, I was 21, fresh out of college. I had never really traveled like that before. All of this was so new to me. So, it was a huge leap, it felt like, to go over there and just kind of get this experience of the unknown. But it was so fun. The girls there were amazing. Every country you go to, you learn so much about the culture. Every course is so different. It was the best thing for my professional career. I always had status, but I played there full time for 2 or 3 years. And then I came back and I was able to earn LPGA Tour status. But it was just the best learning experience.
I know that playing professionally can also be a very lonely sport. And I think on the PGA Tour, you see a lot of the camaraderie and friendships. But I'm curious, who were you closest to on the tour? And are you still close to them now?
Yeah, a lot of the girls that I was close to on tour were either girls that played on my college team at Wake Forest.
Okay.
Or girls that were kind of in our class age
right
area.
Graduation class. Yeah,
I mean, Olavia Kristen's daughter, I don't know if she played LPGA. She's from Iceland. She played at Wake Forest with me.
Yeah.
Demi Runas was one of my best friends.
I haven't heard her name in a while.
Yes, she's coaching now at Stanford.
Oh, okay. I thought but she's from SoCal.
Yep,
yes,
she is.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
I got close with J. Marie Green, who is now a new mom as well.
Love that. And we'll get into it.
It's actually really awesome to see all of us who were playing at the same time and now how we evolve in life. And you're seeing so many new moms on tour and just kind of thinking about where we came from when we were fresh on tour and figuring it all out. And now we're moms and maybe post-golf or still in golf and it's really cool to see the evolution as you grow up in the sport.
Yeah. No, I love that. We will absolutely get into motherhood in a little bit. So talking about professional golf, what's something that you wish that maybe like the audience or outside voices understood more about, especially women's professional golf?
There's a lot, but I think the biggest thing that I've always tried to advocate for women's golf is obviously how talented we are.
Yes.
And you hear it all the time, but you really don't, I feel like you don't understand it till you see it.
Yeah.
Whether it be the talent or how personal the players are or how close you can get to actually enjoying the golf while you're out watching an LPGA event. Mm-hmm. It's such a different experience than going to maybe a PGA Tour event or a men's event. So I always try to tell people how friendly the women's game is and how welcoming it is. I always tried to make it a point when I was playing to interact with fans or meet with the juniors and interact with them, because I do remember being the girl out there behind the ropes and trying to get an autograph or getting that golf ball, and it's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the women's game, you definitely get that experience a lot more. And then obviously the talent is just amazing. And you see these girls make it look so easy. My husband's played in a couple LPGA Pro-Ams, and he still can't believe how good the girls are. I mean, he hits it like 350, he hits it far. And these girls are kicking his butt, and he can't believe how easy they're making it look. And I just think it's a testament to how deep the talent is and how just amazing they are.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a huge advocate for the women's game, and I may be butchering this stat, but I believe that like they said that on the LPGA Tour, say like a woman's 6-iron and green and regulation average is comparable to like the man's 9-iron. Yeah. And it's something of that nature. Right. And it's like the distances are actually so far in correlation for women compared to men. Yeah. Like they have a lot more shorter irons in compared to women. And I'm like, you guys don't realize how hard it is to get a hybrid next to the pin, a 5-iron next to the pin. Those are like the clubs that I hate.
When you're hitting 9-irons and wedges all day.
Yeah. I'm like, you can stick a wedge, spin it back all day, but like ask me to hit a 3-wood next to the pin on like an unreasonably long par 4. Yeah. I'm like, you guys don't understand how hard that is. If you ask the men to do it, you'll be seeing a lot more short game and a lot more wild shots.
And I've always told people too, I mean, when you see the men's game, it definitely does play shorter. I mean, almost every round they have reachable par 5s or reachable par 4. And on the women's side, I've always said so rare. Maybe if you are one of the longer hitters, yes, you have maybe a reachable par 5, but it was so rare when I was playing on tour.
Right.
To truly have those holes where you can be aggressive and go for it, or to take advantage of hitting on a 2 or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, we'll work on that. We can talk about that all day. So I wanted to ask your opinion on the LPGA as an organization. I feel like a lot has grown. Mm-hmm. What do you feel like they're doing right? And what do you feel like maybe we can bring a little more attention to this?
There's been so many changes in the LPGA, and it's been exciting for me the last couple of years. I've been on the board for LPGA Foundation, which is behind the scenes of like their charities and girls programs. But it's definitely given me an inside look of what the LPGA is doing and how awesome, they're being able to provide all these programs for girls and amateurs. So I absolutely love that. I grew up in the LPGA girls golf program. I started when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I was the very first original Sandy LeBeau, started it in Scottsdale, Arizona. And my coach was her husband. So I got started in that program, and to be able to see it grow into what it is today, I think the LPGA has done so much in giving back to the game and also the communities. Yeah. Their reach is not just within the U.S., but also so global. Right. And I think that's been so cool to see. And you're seeing a lot of girls golf alumni now on tour, which I think goes to show how they are able to give back to the game and also support them throughout their careers. So I think the LPGA is doing such a good job of that. Obviously, playing on tour has gotten so much better in terms of money and support.
Purses we're growing. We love to see it. And the
golf courses that we play are just amazing. So I think that's been really great. In terms of what they can do better, geez, that's a tough question.
Yeah. I mean, every organization can use some improvement, right? Like, look at the PGA Tour. What's happening?
Yeah. So. I mean, I love that the LPGA is elevating their players more.
Yes.
I think that's always been an issue. More stories. There's so many great personalities. I know they've invested in trying to elevate their players individually and showcasing those stories. And I think that's been really great, just to bring more eyes on individual players. Like, you see Charlie Hole out there, you see Lydia, you see all these personalities that are just so unique and so special that a lot of the men are able to showcase a bit more. Like even with the Netflix show, like they are household names.
Yeah.
And it makes a big difference when it comes to then trying to sell the tour or sell sponsorships, to have that connection with fans and players.
Right.
So I think if they can continue to do that more, it would definitely help.
I love that. I completely agree. So as we know right now, there is, at this moment, maybe when the pod comes out, we'll know, there is no commissioner at this moment. If you were the commissioner, what is something that you would instill? No rules, no restrictions on money attached. What is something that you would instill right now to help continue to support the girls?
Oh, geez.
Or change, could be a rule change, whatever you feel.
Oh, wow. I need some time to think about that.
Cheyenne is a commissioner, y'all.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm thinking any way to help make the travel easier for the girls, whether it
that's
be
such a good point.
Something they're able to provide wellness-wise or even hotel sponsorship.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's really hard for players. Whether you're at the top or you're just trying to keep your car, like it gets expensive. And I always say the lifestyle of playing on tour is one of the most difficult things, of traveling day in and day out.
All year round, too.
All year.
Compared to other sports.
Across timelines.
Yeah. Time zones.
Across time zones and just globally. So if there was something that the tour could do in order to support them a little bit better travel-wise, I think that would be really good.
Yeah, I agree with that. When you make it onto the PGA Tour, the new players are essentially loaned nearly $500,000 to go and support themselves. And the girls are given $0. Yeah. And I just can't, but there's so many events now where like Mizuho and like even the Asia Swing where like everything is covered and like the girls are like royalty. So we just need to get all the events to be like that, right?
And even the stipends that they've been able to provide, if you miss a cut, they've been able to provide stipends because, when people think of professional golf and they see the PGA Tour, they see the private jets and all these glamorous life things.
A little different.
It's assumed that the women, have that as well, and it's just not the case.
Right.
And so it's definitely a reality check. I think even as a player to come in and you're like, wait, I have to pay for this whole list of things, and how do I get a sponsor? Sponsorships are hard to come by as well. So definitely a little bit more difficult on the women's side.
So can you break that down? Like, let's say, take us back to when you were playing. 1 week, what are expenses like? What are you covering for yourself and your team?
You basically cover everything. So flight, you don't have to pay for your caddy's flight, but you do have to pay for your caddy's weekly fee in addition to whatever percentage if you make the cut. When I was playing, I think caddy was anywhere between $1,200 to $1,500.
For 1 week?
For 1 week.
Okay.
So hotel, unless you do a host family, which a lot of players do, so you can kind of cut that expense. Food, rental car. They do sometimes have like courtesy cars that you could use, but it's, not as flexible, I guess.
Right.
So it definitely, maybe about $5,000 I usually budgeted for per week.
That's so crazy. Entry fee? Do we say entry fee?
Oh, an entry fee.
Yeah. We have to pay for the tournaments too, guys. Don't forget.
Yeah. So it definitely adds up. And you're thinking you're playing 25, 30 events a year. It gets expensive.
Right. Right. So we had to make more than just a cut to survive, right?
Yes.
Crazy. Okay. So I wanted to transition into motherhood. You have 2 beautiful children.
Yes.
And so what was that transition like from you taking kind of like a step aside from professional golf and becoming a mother?
It was very different. Very different. I played golf my whole life, and I always wanted to be a mom. I always knew I wanted to be a mom, and we had our son in 2022. I competed up until I think I was like 5 months pregnant, but nobody knew I was pregnant at the time.
Okay.
And then I haven't competed since we had our son, and I always knew I didn't want to play professional golf and be a mom. I didn't want to travel and have my kids on the road. And at the time when we had our son, my husband was still playing baseball.
Okay.
So we were trying to be with him as much as we could and travel as well. So it was hard to think about doing golf and that at the same time with having a family. But definitely taking a step aside from professional golf was refreshing.
Okay. I like it.
I think I was ready.
Yeah.
I definitely was ready. And it just was nice to see a different side of life.
Right.
I think as a professional golfer, you get so just you're always just focused on self.
Right.
And it was nice to have something that was more than me. Take my focus off of just me, and think about this beautiful baby and my husband and our family. So it was definitely a breath of fresh air.
Now, speaking of your daughter, how is your baby girl doing?
She's good.
She's good.
Maya's
do you mind sharing?
Doing so well.
Yeah.
So Maya has had like the not the toughest journey, but it's been difficult. And it has not been anything that we ever expected and nothing that I ever heard people talking about.
I didn't either until I saw your post.
Yeah. And so if people, want more information, our daughter was born like full term, totally fine, but she had a lot of feeding difficulties.
Right.
She had really bad acid reflux where she was throwing up nonstop and she wouldn't take a bottle, pacifier, nothing. And she wouldn't have long enough feeds. And so she wasn't gaining weight. She wasn't gaining enough weight. So she was admitted to the hospital as failure to thrive, which was the absolute worst feeling ever as a mom because you feel like you failed as well. And I still didn't know what was happening. She's throwing up. She's not gaining weight. And I literally can't do anything. So we did all the tests possible, all of the things, and she ended up being a tube-fed baby.
Okay.
She still is tube-fed through a G-tube, but she's not throwing up anymore, which is great.
Good.
And she also had like a breathing condition she had to have a surgery on, which was at the end of the day not allowing her to feed, which we didn't know. But she's doing better, which is great. It's honestly such a long story. So I don't know how to cut it down, but it's just been such a journey of just appreciation and gratitude for all of the little things because you hear about women having babies and babies growing up all the time, but there are so many things that can go wrong or so many health conditions that could happen. And I'm just so grateful that although she's still G-tube fed, she is healthy and she is happy and she is thriving. And it's just the best feeling in the world because you appreciate all of the little moments and all the little things after going through difficult times.
Well, I'm so happy that she is growing stronger every single day. I'm sure like any stressful moment you had in your professional golf career is like, F that.
Nothing.
Like, this is my everything. Like, your child now is your life.
And, And again, it just gives you perspective. I mean, when we were going through that with Maya, it was probably like 8 months of it where literally every day we couldn't leave the house because she would throw up 15 to 20 times a day. I couldn't take her anywhere. And it just gives you perspective of just what is important. And I think, again, just having kids in general, of being able to step back and look at the big picture of what is important in life. And I do love golf and I love to compete.
Right.
But in this stage of my life, it's just so nice to be able to have these moments with my kids and to raise them and to be there for all the little moments and for when they need me.
So you mentioned how you love competing. Is there any shot that we will see Cheyenne Woods compete again? Qualifier? Anything?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
I think so. I mean, honestly, I miss the competition and it's so hard to replicate. I love competing. I've always been a competitive person in everything that I do. And I want to be able to have my kids see me play one day. So I would say maybe in the next couple years I'd play. I would love to qualify for the U.S. Open again and play in that and have, our kids following us along. Maybe my husband can caddy. I'll put him to work.
I love that. Okay, speaking of husband, so Cheyenne's husband is Erin Hicks and he is a professional baseball player. And I actually played golf with him. Pre-pandemic.
The media day,
yes,
right?
A Riviera.
Yeah.
And I was actually so surprised at how good at golf he was, especially for a baseball player, because typically baseball players just like slice the shit out of it. And he was like striping it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to hear how you two met. I know it was kind of something similar to what we're doing now, but I'm going to let you tell the story.
So Erin and I have been married for 3 years now. And we met during the pandemic or just before the pandemic. I used to have a podcast with Doug Smith called Birdies Not BS. And we would record in Phoenix, Arizona. And Erin and Doug were friends. And so Doug invited him on the podcast. And we just a little episode like this, getting to know Erin and his relationship with golf. And so it was awesome just to get to know him a little bit. And that was my first time meeting him. And during the pandemic, both of our seasons got shut down.
Right.
So I was, I think in Florida, I was at the Players actually at the time. And so during the pandemic, when we were both home, we just started playing golf together. And that's kind of how it just sparked this friendship. And then we got to know each other more. I was like, he's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think I like him. And so that's kind of where it all started.
I love that. So it wasn't like instant sparks in the podcast room. It was more just like a slow burn, hang out, play a lot of golf together. And then you're like, okay.
Yeah. And it's funny. Human. Yeah. And it's funny because I always said I would never date a golfer. And technically he's not a golfer.
Right.
but he plays a lot of golf.
Right.
and I actually love it because we can appreciate the same love of golf and we can enjoy it with our families now too. And I think that the pandemic really gave us a lot of quality time that we never would have had otherwise, especially him being a baseball player. I was playing golf full time. Our worlds were literally like that, just like colliding and just would never have crossed paths. So I'm grateful for, the time that we were able to have. And then, like you said, slow burn of just, we fell in love and basically through the game of golf.
Right. So in this case, it was actually a turn on that he plays golf. Usually I feel like for golfers, it's like, no, turn off. Please don't love golf too much. Don't want to be on the course. Yeah. So have you taught him much and like kind of helped him out with his game?
I'm trying to work on his short game.
Okay.
Yeah, he is definitely a power player and he loves his 60-degree wedge, which a lot of people do. And I'm trying to just teach him about bump and runs and different shots that he can hit and different clubs that he has other than his lob wedge.
Yeah.
So definitely trying to balance out his game a little bit.
Okay. I love that. Now, your little boy, he plays both baseball and golf.
Yeah.
If you could choose which we're not going to force our kids, into anything, but if you could control it, you would want him to play baseball?
I think baseball. Erin says golf. So we'll kind of see what happens there. But Cameron will be 3 next month. So he is just full toddler boy, loving absolutely every sport possible, but definitely attached to a club and a bat at all times.
Oh, so cute.
And the thing that frustrates me most is that now that I'm post LPGA Tour career, he mainly sees his dad playing golf and he thinks dad is the golfer and everything golf related is dad. So that's why I'm thinking I need to get back out and show him who the real golfer is in the house.
Do you play much anymore?
Not as much as I want to.
Okay.
No, I'm finally starting to get back out and hit balls and like playing a couple things here and there, but I'm trying to get back out more.
So one thing that I do love about like everything that I've seen you share is that you're huge about making golf more accessible. And so how do you feel like golf is heading right now? Do you feel like we're heading in the right direction, making more inclusive?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been so exciting to see how far golf has come. Honestly, just since the pandemic. In the last
boom.
5 years.
For sure.
I remember when I was playing, that was always something I advocated was access to golf, getting everybody out there, showing them that golf is for them. You don't have to be a country club button-up player.
For sure.
Places like Topgolf have really opened up the world to what golf can be and that it can be fun. It can be for everybody. So I love where golf is headed. And even just the influencer world of making golf relatable and YouTube golf, I think is so great for the game. What is it? The Good guys?
Yeah.
When I saw them come out to Scottsdale and all the people that came out to the event, and they're not golfers that are fans. These are just like your everyday people. And I think that's great for the game of golf. So it's exciting. And I am honestly mind blown with how far it's come in like 5 years.
Yeah.
But I think it's great for the game.
Absolutely. What do you think golf maybe needs more of to continue that trajectory?
I think just continued support of that everyday person who wants to get into golf.
For sure.
It's nice to have the facilities like Topgolf or like the YouTube people that you can watch, but I think still maybe with instruction-wise of making golf more accessible or a little bit more affordable is a big thing. Because it's one thing to go out and like, okay, get a club and hit some balls, but it takes a little bit of teaching to really understand and know how to swing the club. So maybe just a little bit more support and programs to kind of get this new fan base able to learn how to play golf.
We just need a teaching course from Cheyenne Woods.
Yeah.
So switching gears a little bit because this was really big news to the golf world a few weeks ago. We understand that you lost your grandmother, Catilda Woods, and I just wanted to do a check-in. How's the family? How are you?
Yeah, it was really sad to see that, honestly.
Felt very sudden.
Yeah, and we had just seen her, at TGL and just beaming with pride, which I think, honestly, looking back is the best thing to be able to have her at those moments for Tiger to support. I didn't get to spend as much time with Tita as I did with my grandfather, but she was just so special. And this probably sounds silly, but she's why I love Thai food.
Oh my God, but of course.
Obsessed with Thai food because I remember growing up, she would cook Thai food or she would show us how to cook Thai food. So it definitely is so sad, but I'm so grateful that she was able to have those special moments with Tiger and Charlie and watch them at TGL, and she definitely won't be missed.
I actually met her when I was, I think, like 12 years old. It was for a TGR Foundation event, and I somehow got into it through like SCPGA or one of those millions of golf organizations. And funny enough, I didn't realize I was sitting next to your grandmother. And I was just waiting for my mom at the restroom. And we were in the facility. And she was like eating like, it looked like country club snacks.
Yeah.
And she looks at me and she just goes, and she like gestures like, do I want any? And I'm like, okay. And I grabbed a pretzel.
So sweet.
I was like, do you play golf? I said, yes. And she said, are you here for the clinic? I said, yes. And she goes, practice hard.
Oh,
and I said,
I will.
yeah. And I thought I was like, yes. And then my dad was like, do you know who that was? I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, yeah.
No big deal.
But no, I
so
love that
sweet.
story. And we love that you love Thai food, of course.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, switching gears back to like a little more of a lighter note. I saw that you recently launched a show on Golf Pass.
Correct.
Tea to Dreams.
Yes.
Can you tell everybody about it?
It's really exciting, honestly. So Tea to Dream is on Golf Pass, streaming right now. We have 2 episodes out.
We love it.
And the basis of the show is showcasing professional golfers who are associated with foundations and the work that they do to give back to their charity and to the community. We all know golf is so philanthropic, but we don't always get to see behind the scenes of how these professional golfers are using their platforms to give back. When I was playing, it was always a big part of my traveling and my career of trying to give back to the communities or connect with the local girls.
Right.
So to be able to see what these golfers are, obviously not only just playing at the highest level possible, but then giving so much back to their communities and giving back to their foundations. So we've focused on Ryan Palmer and LPGA so far this year.
Oh.
And it's just been really special to be a part of and see how golf can not only change, obviously, the golfers' lives and they're playing and doing these glamorous things, but changing the lives of kids and people within their communities. So it's on Golf Pass now.
Okay.
If people want to check it out, I think the episodes are free to stream right now if you want to see. And we're going to film a bit more this season as well.
Okay, we will be on the lookout for sure.
Yeah.
We'll just drop the link, you guys.
There you
Don't worry. And so what's next for Cheyenne Woods in general? I know that I feel like you do a lot more media now and traveling to tournaments and whatnot. You have a next stop.
Yeah, definitely more filming with Golf Pass
For sure.
and focusing on that show. And then maybe a couple of other fun things in the golf world. Thinking about talking a little bit about podcast as well. So
I love it.
That could be potentially coming up soon.
Would you be bringing it back or would you just be like starting a brand new thing? I love it.
Birdies Not BS was so fun to do with Doug and we learned so much, but that is R.I.P. Yeah. But yeah, Doug and I are still really close, actually.
That's what he was telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys don't know who Doug is, he is now like a commentator on Golf Channel. I was actually just with him a few days ago and he was commentating me playing, which was kind of weird and kind of wild. And he was always telling me, he's like, you should get Shy on the pod. I'm like, bro, help me out, dude.
Yeah.
And so I love that you guys are close.
Yeah, and it's funny because he lives like 20 minutes from us and his son is about the same age as ours. So
perfect
our
play
sons
date.
are best friends and I think in the next couple years they're going to be like golf rivals / best friends.
Ooh.
So stay tuned.
We love a good story.
Yeah.
We love it. All right,
Yeah.
so we are winding down now, but we have to end with a fun little game.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, do you know the game F Kill Marry?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little dramatic, but
Okay.
we're changing
got
up
me
the
nervous.
words. Yeah, it's called travel, cut, like miss the cut,
Okay.
marry.
Okay.
Okay, those are your 3 options. These are amongst your LPGA peers.
Travel, cut, marry.
Yes. Okay, are you ready?
I think so.
Okay, all right. Lexi Thompson, Danielle Kang, Brooke Henderson.
Oh my gosh. Wait, this is the kind of game that it is?
No hard feelings.
Okay, so I'm going to say travel Danielle Kang.
Okay.
She is so fun, and I always loved playing with her.
You have Lexi and Brooke.
I am going to cut Lexi because she is technically partially retired.
That is true.
So she kind of cut herself, right?
Yes.
I don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And then I would marry Brooke. I love playing with Brooke and her sister.
I love that.
And her game is just amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah. And I feel like her driver just looks so long for her, but she crushes it every time.
She makes it look so easy.
Okay, last one. Michelle Wee West, Brittany Lincecum, Stacey Lewis.
I think I would travel again with Michelle.
Yeah.
I know she probably has all the good food recommendations.
She's a
and
foodie.
She's got the babies so that we could do little play dates again. Stacey, I think I would marry Stacey.
Wow.
Wait, is it Mary?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would marry Stacey.
I love that. Okay.
She's a legend.
Yeah.
She's an icon in the game. And then Brittany, this is really brutal. I guess I'd have to cut Brittany.
No hard feelings, guys. It's just the game.
Yeah,
there is no
I'm gonna
underlying.
Have to, like, send some messages.
Yeah.
No offense.
I love it. That is the end of the game. And final question, where can listeners follow you and see everything that's going on?
I'm on Instagram at Cheyenne_Woods and Twitter as well.